What's up, family? It's your girl Kay Charles, and today we are going to be making one of my looks that I'm carrying with me to St. Lucia, and it's actually this dress right here, which was inspired by Toya. I don't remember, I don't know Toya's last name, but I love the dress, and I thought that this would look perfect in stripes, so I went and got me some stripe material. Got me some stripe material, and I already cut out the pieces. Now, in order for me to achieve this look, I'm going to be using two patterns. Let me show you the patterns I'm using. Okay, so the first pattern I'm using is Simplicity's 9688, 9688, and I'm using View D, which is this top right here, because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to extend that piece down further like Toya's is in her dress, and it already has the straps on the back, so I don't have to do anything to that. And then there's a low back to it, which is perfect because my back would be out, so I'm using this top right here. And then I'm also using McCall's MP422, which is this one right here, which is a nice sundress pattern. But I'm using the bottom skirt of the dress, which is View B. So I'm using View B skirt. So that way I'll have this top along with this skirt right here. And then we're going to, like I said, do some different alterations to it because this V-neck, I think it's going to end like right here. I'm going to extend it down further. And then I'm going to attach it to the back piece. We're going to do some stuff, so just stay with me. I hope y'all enjoyed this tutorial. And you know my motto, grab your scissors, grab your material, and let's begin.
Okay, y'all. So the first thing we're going to do to get this dress started is we're going to do the bottom of the dress first, which is the skirt piece. Now, if you're following along with me and you have those pattern pieces, we're going to be using pattern piece number 4 and pattern piece number 5, which is the front and the back of the skirt. And I'm doing the long version because, again, I want my skirt to be like the dress in my inspiration, and I want it to be long. I'm not going to have mine dragging the ground like she had hers dragging the ground, but I'm going to make sure that it's long enough to at least reach the ground. Now, first thing we're going to do is you're going to get pattern piece number 4, which is the front of the skirt, and we're going to put them right sides facing, and we're going to stitch a zigzag stitch or a stretch stitch down the front of the pattern. Now, if you do not have a stretch stitch on your sewing machine, then you want to use a very small zigzag stitch. The reason we're using a zigzag stitch is because there is stretch in this material. And you don't want any of your stitches popping when you're wearing your dress because we're going to be doing a lot of moving in this outfit. It's going to be a lot of for me, it's probably going to be a lot of walking, a lot of wear and tear. So I, again, don't want to pop any stitches. So I'm going to be using a stretch stitch, which I have on my sewing machine. But again, if you don't have a stretch stitch, it's okay. Just go ahead and use a zigzag stitch. Now, the material I'm using has and you want to make sure that you are doing the right sides facing each other. Now, this material I have, it almost looks the same, but there's actually a difference in the fabric. So this is the wrong side, and you can see it's nice and smooth, right? But you can still see like a little bit of ridges. Now, on the fabric side that we're using, this is your right side. You see where it has that texture in it? So this, you want, so again, if you have some material that's like this, you want to make sure that you're using all the right sides. You don't want to have right side facing on one and then your left wrong side facing on another. So just make sure if your material is similar to each other on the front and the back that you're using the right side. So again, go ahead and grab you some pins. Y'all know how I am about pins. Pins are very important. You want to use them because it'll help your fabric from shifting when you're going under the sewing machine. Now, once I have this pin down, which I do now, we're going to go over and we're going to give it a stitch all the way down the front like this. And then I'll come back and show you the next step. Now when I'm sewing, you're going to see that I have my hand. I'm using it as a guide right here. This helps keep your material nice and flat as well, as long as the pins. But you want to do this so it helps guide it through. You're not pushing, but you're guiding your material so it doesn't start bulking up, or if something happens, you can grab it. You can kind of stop right then and there. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing that we did for piece number 4, and we're going to do it for piece number 5. But this time you're going to be going down the center back, just like I did a little while ago. We're going down the center back, and then I'm going to show you the next step. Okay, so you should be back from your sewing machine. You should have your front and your back sewn together. It should look like this. Hopefully yours is looking like this as well. Now we're going to take both of these right side spacing. We're going to pin them down together, and then we're going to sew straight down the sides. Okay, so you should be back from your sewing machine, and your bottom skirt should be done. This is what it should be looking like now. Yeah, I'm loving it. Like, I'm loving the skirt already. It's the right length that I want it to be, especially once I put the hem in it. It's going to be just perfect for my island time. Okay, so we're just going to put this to the side for a second. Let's put this to the side right there. Then we're going to grab our pieces, because according to the instructions for the top, the first thing we need to do is we need to do some stay stitching. So we need to stay stitch, and we also, let's see, V and D, neck facing. We need to stay stitch the middle part of our V cut. We got to put some stay stitching on there. So this is the front. This is the actual front piece right here. This is what it should look like. Now, and when I take it and I do like this, and I say, oh, you know what? This is what, if I put a little necktie in it, this is what the V shape looks like. But again, I want mine to mimic this dress here. So I'm going to have to go down a little further. So I'm going to go down to about right here. This is right over top of my belly button. So I'm going to go here. So I'm going to take my finger. I'm going to grab me a pin like this. And I'm going to make a little mark right there. So now that I got my mark made, we're going to go over to our table, our sewing table. And we're going to fold it in half like it was just a few minutes ago. Just like that. This is what I love about sewing, because even though this pattern piece is close to the design that we want, it's not exactly the design that we want. And this is how, what we call hacking. This is, we're going to hack this pattern right now. And we're going to hack the pattern so that we can make it be exactly what I'm envisioning. So now I know where my mark is. So we're going to take our ruler like this, and we're going to go down to the mark. Now, what I'm doing is, let's see if I can get this to stay still. What I'm doing is, in the front of the piece, in the front piece, It's folded in half, and then there is a little fold right here, so that this part will be nice and whole. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to extend that hole down from here to down to there where I want it to be. So when you do is you put it in, you fold it in half. We're going to slant it down, and we're going to cut it off where the mark is. So my mark is here. Let's flip it over so I can see the mark. That will make it much better. Grab you a ruler because you want nice straight lines, because we're going to have to mimic this also on the facing, because what you do to one piece you definitely have to do to the other. So now that I have it on there nice and neat right there with the mark, my mark is here. We're going to take our rotary cutter and we're going to slice off that additional piece just like that. So now when it's opened up, because this is the right side, it looks like this. Now it looks like this. See how it went further down? And that's going to be good because when you notice in Toya's dress, there's like a gathering piece right here. It gathers right there, and then there's like a little hoop. There's a hoop in the middle. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So now you can see this is what it looks like. Again, I got it down to where I want it. Now remember, whatever you do for this, you got to do it for the other piece as well. So let's grab our facing, and we're going to make the same slice off on our facing that we did on the top piece. So here's my facing. And I'm going to lay this out flat, just like that. And we're going to line those up together. Just like this. And we're going to line up the bottoms so that it meets. And we're going to slice off the spacing. Just like that. Now we can follow the instructions. Okay, so the first things first, it tells us that we have to stay stitch our inside of our band. So let's go over and we're going to stay stitch on the inside of both our facing and our top. Okay, so the next thing we have to do is we're going to start with our top. Now, you're going to grab the front of your top and your facing. We're going to put them right sides facing. Move this out the way. We're going to put them right sides facing, and you're going to pin them down. Now, we're going to pin it because we're going to sew on outer edges all the way around the middle, up, down, through the sides, and back down to this side. Then what we're going to do is we're going to flip it inside out. So now we have nice, strong straps and our tie for the back of our neck. And this is going to, again, just give us a little bit more reinforcement as far as the material itself. So this is what it should look like. Let me show you. You should have it pinned just like this all the way around. So we're going to start from down here. We're going to go up all the way down the middle, back up this way, down this way, back down this, and then the side. And then we're going to flip it. We're going to split the facing to the inside of the thing. Now this is going to be the front of our top. So we got to do this first, and then we're going to add the back of our top to this. But we got to do this first. So go over to your sewing machine, and I'll meet you back here. Okay, you should be back from your sewing machine and your piece should be looking like this. This is how it should look with your facing connected to your front piece. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip the facing over to the inside of the shirt. So, and because of course these are straps, my hand's not going to fit all the way through there, but you can just kind of flip it through, or you can get you a point turner. You can use a ruler. I'm just going to do this because they're wide enough to just kind of grab and pull like this. We're going to do it for both sides. Now, this is where you want to get your iron out. Well, it doesn't say that in the instructions, but I'm going to give this a good iron. And then I'm going to give it a top stitch. So we're going to top stitch all the way around so that this stays nice and steady and in place. So again, we're going to grab this, pull it through. You're going to do that all the way like that. And you want to get you a point turner. My point turner is in my other little area, so I'm just going to use this little stick. You want to make sure you get all your points out, all your edges and the points out, just like that. Just like that. Do it on the other side as well. Just like that. Then once you have that done, like I said, we're going to go over to the iron. We're going to give it a good press. And then I'm going to top stitch it so that it stays nice and firm and in place. Just like this. But it should look like this now. It should be looking like this. Can you see the dress coming along? I can, and I love it. Okay, so we're going to give it a good press, and then we're going to give it a top stitch all the way around, up through the top and the bottom so it stays nice and flat. I'll be right back. Okay, so now that we have our front and our facing together, you can see I went to the ironing board and I gave it a good press, and then I top stitched it all the way around. So again, to me, it looks nice and professional, look neat this way when you do it this way instead of just trying to press it. But that's your option. It does not tell you to do that in the instructions. This is just something I did myself. Now, I'm going to tell y'all, we had to do a lot of jury rigging when it came to this top because for some reason, I kept reading the instructions and you ever looked at something like, this don't make any sense. Well, it wasn't making any sense to me. So I figured it out and it's making sense to me now. So once you have that done, you're going to take your back of you're going to take the back and you're going to make sure you sew it down the center back, and you're going to give it a good serge, or you're going to finish it off with your zigzag stitch on the ends, or however you're doing it, or you can use your picnic shears as well. That'll do a good job. And then the next thing I did was, because I know that I'm going to have some elastic right here on the back of my dress, so I'm going to go get my measuring stick and I'm going to measure my back across my back and how tight I would want that to be, because this is the casing. I made a casing for the elastic. So we're going to pull that through. We're going to pin it, and then we're going to sew down the seams from the top all the way to the bottom. Then I'll come back and show you the next step.
Okay, y'all, so here's the top and what it's looking like so far. And I'm very pleased with it because, like I said, it's really giving me, it's giving me the vision that I thought it was going to be. And I love that it's in the stripes. So, next thing I do, I am going to add the embellishments like Toya has on hers with the gold ring or silver ring. Haven't decided what color ring it's going to be yet, but one of the colors. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to add the skirt to our bodice. Now I'm going to add a casing on the inside of the two so that I can add some elastic into it. It's not going to be like elastic like on the back where you can kind of see that there's like a little scrunch. I want to make it real taut so that it will stretch if it need to, but it's going to be taut enough so you don't really see that there is a elastic piece inside the band. So let me go ahead and put these two together and make the casing in between the bodice and the skirt, and I'll be back. All right, y'all, quick tip. So, you know how I'm always telling you to go try on your stuff. Try your stuff on as you're sewing. So, I went and I tried the top on. The top fits perfect. But when I realized when I'm going to add the bottom of the skirt to this top, I don't need all of this right here. So, what I did was I took a little mark. You can see right there with the marker. And I just made a little mark. So, I'm going to cut straight across here. And this is going to be my new waistline right here. I don't need all of this fabric. Now, if you have a longer torso, then yes, you want to have all this. But I don't have a short torso. And then, this is coming down. It's plunging very long. So I only need about 4 or 5 inches underneath of that neckline plunge right there. So I'm going to go ahead and take my ruler. I'm going to put it across there. I'm going to give it a nice swipe. And then we're going to attach the bottom to the top. Okay, so now that I have my bodice cut like I want it to be, this is perfect. I'm going to go ahead and attach this to the skirt. Now, the way we're going to attach this to the skirt is you want to make sure that your bodice is facing right side up. So this is the good material right here. This is what we want to see on the outside. Now, for your skirt piece, you want to make sure that your wrong side facing is facing up, just like this. And I'm going to show you why. Because we're going to take this top and we're going to line it up with our seams. Make sure you know your front center seam and your back center seams is going to be very important right now. So we're going to take this with the front of the bodice and we're going to put it inside of the dress, inside the skirt. I said dress, inside the skirt, just like this. Now, what happens is when you do it this way is you have right sides touching each other. You have right sides facing like this, which is what we want. And once we've sewn this together around this part, around the waist part, when we flip it inside out, it's going to be a nice seamless flow. So the first thing we want to do is match up our center seams. So my front center seam is actually right here on this blue line, which is good for me. And I'm going to take my center seam of my skirt and I'm going to pin it together, just like this. Get you some clips or some pins. I'm using clips this morning. But you get you whatever you are using, and you want to take the center seam of your back shirt, your back bodice. I keep saying shirt, y'all. Sorry. The back bodice piece, and we're going to attach it to the center seam of our skirt. Going to clip it down like that. I'm going to do the same thing on the side seams. We're going to grab our side seams, and we're going to put it together with the side seam of our skirt. Like that. Put a clip in it. Same thing on the other side. Grab your side seams of the bodice and the side seams of the skirt. Clip them together like that. Now that you have the clip, once you go over to your sewing machine, don't forget that we're using a zigzag stitch because this is definitely going to get a lot of wear and tear on your dress. And you want to make sure that none of your stitches are popping. So we're going to use a zigzag stitch. And when you're sewing, you're going to put a little stretch to it. Now, I'm using stripes. Now, y'all know how I am so particular about my stripes, matching and trying to get them as good as possible. So I'm just giving myself an extra couple of clips here so that I know that my stripes are matching. You don't have to be as particular as I am, but I'll tell you, it's going to save your dress a lot of headache and trouble. The look of it anyway. I don't know. I'm just kind of, sometimes I'm too much of a perfectionist, but you just got to be careful when you have stripes or some type of pattern because you want to make sure they match. You don't want to look off or crazy.
So this is what I do to ensure that my seam, not my seam, to ensure that my stripes in this case are going to be matching. So I know I'm going to have to do a little stretch. So you just do a little stretch. Add a little stretch into it already. And make sure that your stripes are matching. See that? My stripes are matching. So that way when I go put on my dress, my stripes aren't going to have like a zigzag or cut off like that. So that's why when you see on the patterns, it says always get extra material just in case so that you can make sure that you match everything up. So I'm matching these up. And that's why I'm adding these extra clips. If you're just using a regular fabric, you won't have to do this. Now my front is really good. I'm liking it. So let's add our little stretch to it to make sure that our pattern, that our seams stay like that. Y'all see what I'm doing? I'm stretching and I'm making sure that they're matching on the front and the back. And then I'm going to just give it a clip right there. That'll hold it in place. So I know once I stretch it, it's going to be stretched so that the stripes are matching. That's just something I do to make sure like I said, make sure when I have stripes that they're matching. I like good stripes. I love a good stripe pattern. But like I said, you just got to make sure that everything is lining up together. And that one, let's see, add a little, got to add a little stretch right there. So put a clip here. So that when I stretch it, it'll be lined up perfectly. Yep. There we go. Okay, so, oh, I got one more side. Sorry, y'all. One more side. I forgot about this side. There, put it here. Okay, so now I know once I go to stretch, they're going to line up good. So now that you have it pinned down, next thing you want to do is we're going to go over to our sewing machine and you're going to give a good zigzag stitch all the way across here, all the way from the, all the way around. I'm actually going to do mine twice. I'm not going to do it twice. I'm going to do a good zigzag and then I'm going to hit it with my serger. If you don't have a serger, don't worry about it. Just remember you can use your picking shears to finish it off, or you can use a small zigzag stitch on the side to keep it from unraveling, whatever, depending on what kind of material you're using. But like I said, I'm going to go over, I'm going to hit it with my stretch stitch that I have on my machine. I use the stretch stitch and then I'm going to hit it with my serger and I'll be back and show you almost the last final step. Okay, so if you're following along and this is what your dress should look like. Yeah, I am happy about my stripes. They're not perfect, but they're very close to it. So I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it enough where I'm not going to rip it off and do it again. I have done that before in the past, but I don't need to do that now. But this is looking good, y'all. It's definitely giving me the vibe and the look that I wanted. I'm going to try it on in a little while, but I don't really think I need to. But I am going to anyway, because y'all know my motto, try it on as you sew. That way you can make any corrections or whatever that you need to before you get all the way to the end or before you get to a part where you got to like and rip it apart in order to fix something that you could have fixed if you tried it on. So I'm going to try it on, but it's definitely giving me the vibe and the look that I wanted, okay? So next thing that we need to do is there is a little piece that Toya has on her dress, which looks like it's just a strip, something like this. So I'm gonna make two strips, and it cups these things like this. And it's a little, she has like a little piece right here in the middle. So let me show y'all. Hold on. Okay, so I got these hooks right here. I got these when they were on sale. You can see they were $1.12. So, when you see stuff like this at the fabric store, y'all pick it up because you never know when you need it again. So I got these two rings. And I actually had bought them because I was like, I'm going to do a bathing suit. But it turned out perfect because now I need to. So what happened is we're going to have to take one of these hooks like this. And we're going to put a piece of material that way. And then we're going to take another piece of material two strips that I'm going to have to put together. And it's going to end up looking like this. And when it end up looking like this, it's going to end up on the dress like that. So that's going to also keep these two together. So that is the next thing I'm going to do. Let's go ahead and cut out the strips that we need to gather these pieces. So my dilemma is I'm debating if I'm going to make it gather or if I'm just going to sew it across so it gives it aesthetic that there is a little piece right there or not. I don't know. Because what I can do is just do that and then sew it to the end of the dress, which I think I may end up doing. So let's get the strips cut out first. I need to cut out two strips. I don't know how long they need to be. I'm just going to cut out two long strips, and then we'll just figure it out. Okay, so y'all know I'm pretty much winging how to make these strips. So I'm just got my C3 ruler so I can see. Now what I decided is I'm going to put 8 inches on both sides. So I got well more than enough right here. And I'm just cutting this down to the size of the ruler. That way, I don't want a real big embellishment on it. I just wanted something cute because I thought that was really cute on her dress. So I'm using my ruler as my guide with that piece. And we'll do the same thing on the other side so it's nice and straight. And I have my weights on there to keep it steady. Okay, so now we have a strip. Like I said, I'm going to do the strips 8 inches on each side. Let's see. So 8 inches, so we're starting there. 8 inches would be, sorry y'all. 8 inches from there. We want to actually go 9. Let's do 9 inches. Let's do 9 inches. 9. This one, 9 from there. Be here. Okay. So now I have my 2 strips that I'm going to use. Now, let's go over to the dress because this is important as well. Got to make sure I have them the right. Now I have the right length. I needed the right width. So this is going to scooch this in. Let me get my clip, y'all. Hold on. Let's put a clip there. Once it comes over, I'll need this here. This is the part I love about sewing, y'all, because this is where, when I tell people all the time, I'm like, if you like puzzles, then you would love to sew. Because this is the part when you start putting pieces to the puzzles together. Now, I like that. I like the way that came out, and I like the way that that's gonna be looking. I like it. What do y'all think? Y'all like it? I like it. Hopefully y'all can see it. I do like that. Let's do the other side. Let's just do it. Okay, so this is what I'm looking for, right? This is what I'm looking for. But what I'm realizing now is I'm going to have to make these strips. Thank goodness I have some more. I'm going to have to make these strips longer so that it will gather this piece. That's what the intent of it is to gather this piece. So I like the way that looks. I like the way it's coming out. But we're going to have to make the strips longer. So let me go make some longer strips and I'll be back. Okay, so this should be your finished result. I now have on my little embellishment here, and I love the way that I did it. Listen, it was a little chore a little bit, but I decided I'm going to go ahead and tack it right here so this don't move. And then the same thing on that side. And then you see I went back and I revamped my stripes, y'all. I'm a little OCD sometimes, and sometimes I'm too much of a perfectionist, but the first stripes were good, but these are way, way better. I feel way better with them like this. Yeah. So again, make sure you just get enough material just in case you have like stripes or some type of plaid so that you can match them up right. Because yeah, that to me looks way better. I tried the dress on. I love it. I cannot wait to take this to St. Lucia with me and rock this dress. This dress is so versatile. It can be a dinner dress. It can be just hanging out by the pool dress, or just kind of, venturing out and seeing what St. Lucia has to offer. I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed this
tutorial as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you all. Stay tuned. There's plenty more to come. I got many more looks that's going to be going to St. Lucia.